for us as a defensive staff to just see, you obviously want to come away with a win, but to see our guys execute and stay focused and fix some of the things that we thought we left out there on the field against Ball State was probably the most encouraging thing. When you look at the game, obviously it's exciting to hold them to the amount of yardage we did, 116 total yards, 31 rushes for 52 yards, 1.7 yards per rush. All those things are really good. Probably some of the more important stats, got 9 negative plays, 3 of them being sacks, gave up 0 explosives in the game. Outside of a 4th down stop, we didn't have any takeaways, and that was certainly something that we hang our hat on here. Breaking a 19-game streak is something that we don't take lightly. I think our guys, as excited as they were to go out and execute, are very frustrated with the not getting a takeaway in that game, and so something that we will continue to harp on. They do come in bunches. And I think as much as the pride of having that is, the focus of moving forward and making sure that we try to accomplish that goal and getting takeaways every game is going to pay off for us, and it's going to win football games. In terms of tackling, we had 9 missed tackles, which is down from 23 a week ago for 31 yards after contact. That's 150 less than what it was a week ago as well, so obviously encouraged by that. And our effort was phenomenal. We had 8 total loads on the entire defensive group unit. Things that we said we had to do to win the game: do your job. We did it at a very high level in terms of our communication, alignment, and execution. Thought we had some very sound run fits and sound tacklers. Takeaways, we did not accomplish that. Key to victory. And then we said we wanted to dominate the situational downs. They were 2 of 16 on 3rd down, 4th down, 1 of 2. Did not get in the red zone, and when we got them in a 2-minute situation in the end, the last 3 drives we went 3 and out. So very pleased with some of the things that our guys did on top of 10 total 3 and outs, which is the most that I think I've ever been a part of. So some good things to build off of for sure. Moving into Ohio State, it's an exciting week for our program. I think anytime you look at a game like this, you have to recognize it as an opportunity. And that's all that we're guaranteed. That's all that we're given. But when you get an opportunity like this, you do everything that you can to make sure that you put yourself in position not to compete but to win. And that's exactly what we're going to do this week. And so when you look at Ohio State, the challenge is great. An offense that is scoring over 43 points a game. They're averaging just under 500 yards a game. 250 of 3 of those yards being on the ground. I think Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins do a phenomenal job in the run game. I think they give them something different than what they had last year with Dwayne Haskins, who was a phenomenal quarterback, but not nearly the run threat that Justin is. I'm sure there's some give and take there from their perspective. But for us, pretty exciting as we move forward into this week to kind of test what we believe that we've built here against an offensive line, running back core, and quarterback that they have at Ohio State. Questions?
Coach, you and Coach Allen both have talked a lot, really, all through August and the first couple of weeks about how much better your run fits have been this year, especially compared to last year. Talk a little bit about when it's up against a team like Ohio State, is that the fact that you are that much better from a discipline standpoint, and just a talent standpoint, as to how much difference that can make?
Well, I think it's important that you, when you look at going and executing early, this team, they've shown that they'll go some tempo, they'll try to move, they'll try to mash you early in games, and I think a lot of it is, you can't get caught up in the pinstripes, you know what I mean? Like the Yankees of old, you know what I mean? You can't get caught up in the pinstripes, you got to lock in and focus on doing your job. And this group, I don't have to worry about that too much because they're very young and very hungry group in terms of who we are defensively. So some of these guys, they came here to win games like this, and so they've got their sights fixed. Can't guarantee a win. I told them that this morning. We'll talk more about that this evening, but I can guarantee them the opportunity, and that's what they came here for Indiana to do.
Pigs and Kevin.
2 quick questions. Is this a game where you maybe don't rotate quite as much and go with more experience with your starters a little bit more? You have been, and What did James Head do this week to kind of earn that?
I'm sorry, say that last part.
James Head getting the defensive MVP, what did he do right?
Yeah, I mean, James, when you look at a game like we had, obviously so many guys executed at a very high level, but they didn't have a ton of plays in terms of overall. I thought for the amount of plays that he was in, he was very productive. We're seeing him take his game to another level in terms of his quickness. He's always been a bigger guy that we're developing. Even last season, he's one of our longer defensive ends that can get his hands on a tight end and create separation. But now he's learning to get off, make plays, and when he gets a one-on-one matchup on the outside, he's winning both in the run and pass game right now. So pretty pleased with the production of some of our young defensive ends. James Head certainly was the silver lining of last week.
Coach, how do you feel like your scheme accounts for quarterbacks that take off, and how important is it going to be to kind of stay disciplined in that regard?
Well, I think, certainly at any given moment, you got to focus on J.K. Dobbins and also on Justin Fields. And so, I think for what we do defensively, we've always had to deal with that. We've always had to build ourselves schematically around stopping the quarterback run game. I think they do some nice things in taking care of their quarterback, and yet at the same time getting him in some one-on-one matchups. They do a nice job of that. From our perspective, there's some things that we feel like that we're probably going to be able to take advantage of. And frankly, every time that guy has his hands on the ball, we're going to try to get some pretty good shots on him.
Coach, obviously you have Abraham and Mike Penix as dual threat type quarterbacks for your defensive play against practice, but when you are preparing for a quarterback like Justin Fields, what are some possibilities as far as learning things about your own defense in game situations like that?
You're saying what can we learn from this game about our defense?
Yes.
I'm hoping that we're really good. So I think when you play a team like this, right, when you play the best, this is the opportunity that these young defensive players have. And certainly, obviously, make no bones about what the skill level and the firepower and really even the scheme that Ohio State has, I think is elite, at just about every level. And so I think for us as a coaching staff, for our players, a young, youthful group that's very hungry to take the next step in this program, we're excited to find out what this opportunity will present.
DeMarcus Elliott's a guy who's coming from the JUCO ranks, starting a defensive tackle. What have you seen in the first 2 games gives you confidence to be able to hold up against an Ohio State offensive line?
I mean, what a great get, for DeMarcus. Sometimes you worry taking a guy late and how that will pan out, but obviously early on for us, he's panned out in a very big way. He's physical at the point of attack, does a great job of holding point. He can get off and make plays, and again, we've talked about this before, but a lot of times when you look at an interior lineman, is he a plugger or a guy that can just hold the gap, or is he a guy that can actually make plays? DeMarcus Elliott's a guy that can make plays for us. He also does a really nice job when we get, we move quite a bit in our defense, obviously, so when we move laterally, he does a great job of pressing vertically versus pass, transitioning from that run mentality to a pass mentality. And he's a pretty gifted player and a very strong interior force. So him and Juan Harris have been truly difference makers for our interior D-line.
I know it's just been 2 games, but what do you see on film to see if there's any difference at all between Ryan Day, the offensive coordinator, and Ryan Day, the head coach?
I don't know. I mean, I think they do a lot of the similar things that they've done in the past. I think he does have a little bit more of a pro-style flair than maybe what they had under Urban Meyer. I think part of that is because of the background of all the quarterback run games that Urban had, dating back to even when he was at Utah, and I don't know what they did at Bowling Green before that. So, but that's always been more of that system, whereas I think my understanding of Ryan Day's background has been more in a pro level focus, and so you see some of those things, a little bit more under center, some pistol, even a few of the route concepts have some West Coast mentality to them, I guess, a little bit, but they're pretty aggressive in their play action game and shots downfield. I think they do a really nice job of trying to force you to get downhill and to create some one-on-one matchups. Obviously, there's some things that they probably leave at risk by doing that, and we've got to take advantage of those things, I think.
last one. Kane, you mentioned about not being able to promise guys a win with this game, but the opportunity to get a win. How do you make sure, especially for younger players during the week, that their mindset is correct and they're not going to be too hyped up and flying around on the field trying to make big plays constantly during the game?
Well, I think it's important when you walk into a game early, it's about execution. You know, I mean, rarely are games won in the first and second quarter, but they certainly can be lost in the first and second quarter. And so for our guys, it's important for us to understand that you just keep chipping away at the execution. Nobody has to do anything special against these guys. As talented as they are, the days of saying that Indiana's just not there yet from a talent standpoint or from an execution standpoint, we've got the guys to go execute and compete with these guys. The goal is we've got to be able to line up and do it for 60 minutes. And I think when we get them into those later rounds, these young guys will continue to build confidence, and I think that's when you can take your knockout shots.
All right, thanks, Kane.
All right, thank you guys.